Scott Woodward with you to preview the Canterbury Bulldogs 2014 prospects in the NRL. And, well, we're about to find out how good a coach Des Hasler is. He has got a real test on his hands in 2014, having lost his best player, Ben Barber. He has to decide who he replaces him with, but more importantly, he has to try and find a new game plan as to how he gets tries and how he gets try assists. Of course, Ben Barber was just about responsible for over 50% of the Bulldogs' tries 2 years ago when they made the grand final. And because of the injuries and the concerns with Ben last year, he missed a lot of games. The Canterbury Bulldogs found themselves out of the top four, and quite honestly, at one stage, they looked like they're going to miss the semi-finals, eventually finishing a disappointing sixth. And with Ben Barber gone now, the Bulldogs really have to come up with a completely new game plan. Des got the reputation when he went to Canterbury Bulldogs that he has sort of reinvented the game and used a lot of his big ball playing forwards to replace a 6 and a 7. And look, he got away with that because largely he had a guy called Ben Barber in the side. And now that Benny's not there now and he's gone to the Broncos, the forwards may very well give good go forward and give good second phase play, but they got no guy in the side like Ben Barber to come through and take advantage of that like he did so well 2 years ago, and on the few games that he played last year. It looks at this stage that Krisnan will be the fullback, and he's a completely different type of fullback to Ben Barber. He's not the running type fullback like Benny is, who could run a length of the field tries. There's no way Krisnan will be doing that. He can certainly bust tackles and he can certainly get the ball away. He's more of a tricky player than like an express tackle buster and line buster. As a matter of fact, I don't expect him to make too many line breaks at all. And he also has got a lot of mistakes in him. Can be lazy, getting back in defence and things like that. So I don't know if Anu will hold down the number one fullback spot all year. It's a key decision for Des to go with Anu. And it's even going to be even more important if he stays with him all year. He's shown in the past that when he makes a decision, he normally does stick with it, even to the detriment of the team. He will stick with it. Now, if Anu's going to play fullback, I certainly would have been playing Josh Morris. I think he's the most explosive player in the back line, and they need someone with that speed that can run length of the field tries and can bust tackles. And given that they have got very good depth in the centres, I certainly would have been doing that. They bought Chase Stanley in as one of their off-season buyers, who I have a high regard for, and he certainly could have played that centre position. I'm not quite sure what Des is going to do with Stanley. I think he has to be in the 17 somewhere because he's such a talent. The other off-season recruit of note that they got was Reni Maitua. And, while Reni's getting on in years, he's still a class act, and he will provide some very good impact for the Bulldogs when he comes off the bench. He's always dangerous, can actually play a top of a 5'8" role, and he's very good at finding a hole and setting other guys up and can do things himself. But he's just a classy player, and I think he's a very good in for the Bulldogs. Let's have a look at some of the other players. Their big recruit a few years ago that Des brought with him from Manly was Tony Williams, and he probably had an opportunity to get Daly Cherry Evans when he was on very small money at Manly, and now he's $1 million player. And he must be kicking himself that he went for Tony Williams in place of Daly Cherry Evans. And Big T-Rex has been highly disappointing. And look, one of the reasons for that is the fact that I think there's a lot of big blockbusting forwards in the Bulldogs pack, and I think Tony Williams would be much better used for the team if they played him in the centres. He's not your typical blockbusting speedy centre, but he's got enough speed, and there's no question that he's almost untackleable. Very few guys would be tackling him, and he would be able to get the ball away, play a lot of like Mal Meninga type centre, and I think Tony Williams would be outstanding in the centres, which has been a big problem area for the Bulldogs on that right side. So that's certainly what I'd be doing with him. They don't need him in the forwards. They've got $1 million forwards. It's one of the best forward packs in the competition. And it's so good a forward pack, you're going to see very highly promising young kids like Lloyd Perrett, for instance, that will probably not get a run in first grade because they've got so much depth in the forwards. And so when you've got a situation like that and you have a problem in another area, I'd be looking at doing something like that with Williams. I think an opposition coach would be very nervous to have him standing out there in the centres and playing that and not being used up as a barge pole to hit it up in the forwards, where he's just been totally ineffective since he's come to the Bulldogs. The other area that I would look at, we've spoken about fullback. I'm very keen to see what happens there. The other guys in contention for that spot would be the young kids, Tyrone, Phillips and Patrick Templeton. So I should say Templman. My feeling is that I don't think they're ready for first grade at this stage, and I think Des would think the same thing, and that's why he's plumped for the season Inu. I can't see any other choices in the Canterbury side. As I said, I would have been going for Morris, but that's going to be a big decision if Des gets that right, which way he goes there. Just on the forwards, their best forward is James Graham. He was their best forward last year, and yet he missed about a third of the season, and he still was their best forward. Just one of the world's best forwards, and he was just dynamic in the World Cup for England. For some unknown reason, Des likes to play him off the bench, and I cannot fathom why he wants to do that. He's a starting forward for mine. He starts for England, and he was outstanding starting for England. Why Des doesn't start him for England and allow him to play most of the first half or all of the first half? He's one of those guys that never gets tired. He just keeps hitting the ball up. And he's an intelligent player and a very good talker. The team goes much better when he's on the field, and I don't think they can risk not having him on there for 20 minutes. He's just too good. So, but, Des makes a decision and he sticks with it. I think he's got that wrong. I think Graham should be starting. Be interested to see what he does this year based on what he would have seen him do in the World Cup. The other player that I wanted to talk about was Chase Stanley and Reni Maitua. We spoke about. They're the two wins. I think it's pretty straightforward what will happen with those guys. I want to talk about the bench. The bench, to me, there's no zip on the bench. We're talking about, well, if he's going to have James Graham on the bench, and the rest of them are going to be forwards, guys like Finucane, Tim Browne, David Klemmer, Pat O'Halloran, Josh Jackson, guys like that, terrific players, but they're not giving you that zip that you want when a team needs that little zing in the side. Don't forget there's no Ben Barber now. And so, they need that little dash there. The only guy that they've got in the side is their best player from last year, Josh Jackson. He had a terrific year yet again last year. And while he goes terrific at 6, I don't think that is his perfect position. Certainly, while Michael Ennis is captain, he'll be the hooker. But I think Josh Reynolds is a far superior number 9 than Michael Ennis, and he would be my starting number 9, but which gives you another problem, who plays the 6. The problem for the Bulldogs is their spine now, and they've already lost their best player in Barber as 1, and so it puts more pressure on their 6 and 7, and that's the way it's been since Des has been at the club, getting the 6 and 7 right. Josh Reynolds has gone into the 6th position, and that's solved one of the problems. Trent Hodkinson had a fairly good year last year at number 7, and we keep saying time again, fairly good is not good enough when you're playing the key halfback position. And while Hodkinson goes okay, when you've got Inu at 1 and you've got Ennis at 9, it's not what you call a scintillating spine for the Bulldogs. Once again, they're going to rely very, very heavy on their forward pack, and Josh Reynolds being able to pick up the scraps and do something individually in the side for them to do very well. It's a class 17, and I'm sure the Bulldogs will do very well because of that. But, last year they were lucky, in my opinion, to finish 6th, and they did that on the back of Ben Barber coming back and playing some games. Now, as I've said, mostly through this commentary, they haven't got Ben Barber, and you just don't produce a new Ben Barber out of thin air. They've got to go and find someone or buy someone. From what I've seen of that and from what I've seen of the recruiting, it doesn't exist, and there's no question in my mind that this is an inferior team to what they've had in the last 2 years, and I think they're going to struggle to play semi-final football. I have them down as a borderline chance to play semi-finals. I think if they do as good as what they did in 2013 and finish 6th, I think they'll be doing very, very well. A lot of that is going to come on the success of who plays fullback and if we can see some improvement in Hodkinson. He has suffered a lot of injuries. He's just started to get that right now, and if he can have a trouble-free, injury-free 2014, that will be a big bonus. And if Michael Ennis can do a little bit more than just catching and passing and tackling, and maybe creating some breaks or creating some half breaks, that would be a bonus as well. But for me, Canterbury Bulldogs, a 50-50 time, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe finish 8th, maybe finish 9th, maybe finish 10th. I think that's around about where I see them finishing at this stage. They've got a little bit of work to do in their spine, and they need to look at that during the year and for their recruiting for 2015 and 2016. I think there's some guys there that probably should be looking at moving on if they want to come back and challenge for a grand final again. But for me, 2014 is going to be a year where we're going to have a very good look at the coach, Des Hasler, and find out if he is that super coach that a lot of people think he is. I was disappointed in a lot of things that he did last year, so we'll give him some slack and we'll see if he can get it right this year. Good coaches can lose a good player and can overcome that, so we're going to see what happens with the Canterbury Bulldogs this year. Good luck if you're a follower. I hope you have a good year. Cheers.